Welcome back to Twin Terror. I'm David.
And I'm Gary.
And today we're going to talk about taxing all foreigners living abroad.
Yes, it's a new Republican fiscal campaign where they've decided that if you live abroad and are earning money, the U.S. must tax you and you must pay U.S. income tax.
It seems the most natural follow up to tariffs to gain more revenue. Now, this is not what this reading is about, and I'm sure the title gave it away too. But it's, again, another Monty Python reference on how to get the economy rolling.
Yes. So what's interesting, I saw a headline that kind of captured my interest that J.D. Vance and Rand Paul are getting into a dust-up. And, Rand Paul's always been kind of a bit of a lightning rod and a bit of a rabble rouser.
He's a.
In this case, I happen to agree with Rand Paul. So this goes back to the Trump administration ordering the Navy to fire on, is it Venezuelan boat?
I think it was.
Yeah, Venezuelan boat in the Caribbean. So
it was in international waters, though.
Yeah, it was in international waters, and the U.S. Navy destroyed this boat and killed the 11 people that were on board. And Trump and company were saying, well, they're part of this, the Tren de Aragua gang, and they were smuggling drugs. And J.D. Vance came on social media on September the 6th and wrote, killing cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military. And there was an online critic, his name is Brian Krasserstein, responded calling the killing of civilians without due process a war crime. And the vice president took exception to this and was quoted as saying, I don't give a bleep what you call it, what you call it. And Rand Paul took that and said, hey, now, wait a minute. He questioned on social media how Vance could justify killing people accused of a crime without a trial first. Because Rand Paul's quote was, did he ever wonder what might happen if the accused were immediately executed without trial or representation? What a despicable and thoughtless sentiment it is to glorify killing someone without a trial. And it's like, okay, Rand, you're halfway there. Now just take that other foot and put it in front of the other. How about deporting people to third-party countries without due process and a trial?
Now, one of the things that's been pointed out is it looks like it was a speedboat. It was a small, fast boat with 11 people in it. Usually when you're smuggling drugs, you try to minimize the number of people in the boat and maximize the cargo. And having a boat that only requires a couple people to operate would seem to indicate that you've got about 8 or 9 people too many in that boat. So it doesn't make sense from a logical, critical thinking point of view that was a drug smuggling boat. And some folks said that boat was more likely had migrants being transported from one country to another, which would be murder, basically.
Yeah.
And it was like, so now the U.S. Navy is in the business of slaughtering tourists, and I was giving Gary the analogy, picture somebody, I'll give a different analogy, but picture folks taking a boat from England to Calais in France in the English Channel and setting up a destroyer there and then blowing those folks up halfway across and calling them drug runners.
Yeah.
What's the difference? We saw a boat. We thought that we know there's drugs, and we blew it up. You killed maybe a bunch of British citizens on holiday. Where's the evidence of drugs? All you're doing now is just murder. It's a war crime. You're murdering civilians using the military to do it.
You got to call it what it is. I mean, they don't know who these people were. They don't know that they were smuggling drugs. And frankly, what is the punishment for drug smuggling? Is it execution?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's a good thing they didn't see that dirty spoon, right?
More Python references.
Exactly. Throwing the Python references all over the place. I mean, this whole thing, as soon as I saw the headline when it first came out, I was thinking, this is bad. This is really bad. I don't care what you call it. these are people in international waters. Yeah, okay, let's say they were drug people and they're in international waters. There are rules for this. You don't know that they were smuggling drugs. They could have just bought a boat and were going out for a little pleasure cruise. They could have been salmon fishing. Who knows what they were doing? They might not have been doing anything illegal. And then are these the people that you really want to waste U.S. assets on? I mean, it was, you could make an argument when he killed that general in Iran. They dropped a drone missile on him, and they killed that guy. He wasn't a nice man, and he was a legitimate military target. But even that was in the gray area. He wasn't.
It's funny how like the California Coast Guard can stop speedboats and submarines without sinking them and slaughtering everybody on board.
Yeah,
to get the drugs. It's funny how that works.
Yeah. So let's take a look at the energy on what's going on with JD Vance and Rand Paul for entertainment.
Oh, we're just going to the drama versus the actual.
Yeah, I think it's that's kind of where I want to point this. I think from a moral and ethical standpoint, we can all agree that killing people without a due process or a trial, and then the punishment fitting the crime, is something we can all agree that it was completely overstepped on this. So let's take a look at this. So you got the Two of Pentacles. This is once again Trump trying to keep his promises to the MAGA base. Now it's the ones out on the high sea. I told you I was going to do this, and now I'm doing it. The challenge is temperance. Yeah, but the temperance is about balance. It's about not being toxic. It's about calm and peace. And we're not at war with these folks, and you're out there killing them. Okay, but let's focus on this. Rand Paul and JD Vance. JD Vance is playing both sides of the coin, supporting Trump and Trump's agenda, and then Rand Paul is kind of like, the challenge is, but you should be balanced. Energy underneath it. Oh, the Judgment card. Okay. So you said who you are, and you said what you were going to do. It's now up to the voters and the U.S. public to decide, is this what we want to stand up and support? This could also be just Rand Paul calling out JD Vance for BS. In the past, you got the Nine of Swords. You just got this nightmare situation that the Trump is throwing on the Republicans again, and JD Vance is supporting and telling them that we should all rise up and support President Trump's agenda. Current energy, Knight of Cups. So there may be a peace offering out there, where Rand Paul has kind of said his piece, but maybe he and JD Vance will try and make nice. Overarching energy is the Five of Wands, though, but there's going to be more chaos and more fighting that's going to come. This could also be the false friend, right? Just we're all Republicans here. We need to support Trump's agenda, and it's creating chaos. Lesson to be learned is the Four of Cups, not being happy. What I'm getting a feeling here is the Republicans in general, Rand Paul sort of representing their voice, because he can get away with it, are not happy with actions that are being taken, because it's creating nightmares for them. And they want more thought and consideration going forth with Trump and his administration on what they're doing. So I was thinking maybe I'd get JD Vance and Rand Paul, but I think what I'm getting is Rand Paul is a proxy for the Republican Party, not being happy with the situation that they're finding themselves in. And they keep having to sort of come up with ways to pass this on to their constituents that it's okay. But the chaos is behind the scenes. There's a lot of chaos. They're not happy about it. And they want, we're only 1 year into this. We got 3 more to go.
Yeah, that's maybe the conservatives are rethinking
Yeah.
their support here. I want to focus on JD Vance. Does JD Vance, the energy around him, he's going to know more information than any of us because he will get the briefings on that one. If this was basically a slaughtering of civilians, whether they're migrants or whatnot, I want to look at his real feelings about this, because right now he has to toe the Trump party line, whether he likes it or not. And obviously he's doing a full-throated towing of it. But let's look at the energy around JD Vance with this. 6 of Cups. Going out and doing what you're told.
Exactly.
Almost a naivety.
That's the perfect card for it.
Yeah, a naivety, and he's stuck. It's like he knows what he's saying isn't right, but he's stuck saying it. Otherwise, interesting. This might be something that makes it difficult for him to become president later on, type of thing, because, he's doing what he's told. He's kind of stuck doing it, but he doesn't want to alienate folks because he's going to be the heir apparent when Trump's health gives out. The past and Nine of Coins. Okay, this is Peter Thiel, getting JD Vance into this position in the first place. You might have to do some things you don't like. Current situation is the Queen of Wands.
Taking action you don't like.
Yeah, that's actions, internal actions. So this is almost like he's looking inside, thinking about what he wants to do next. Because there's going to be an art here to lying about this versus having to own it later. So in some ways, this is kind of like, how do I make sure I'm not to blame for this? If it comes out later that we find out these were migrants, how do you backtrack? So there's some maneuvering going on there. Overarching energy is the Judgment card.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's my energy underneath it.
He's blowing the trumpet to support the government and its current initiative. Maybe he thinks with this one he's covered, that Peter Thiel's got him covered. Lesson to be learned is the Three of Cups. Yeah, he's carrying Trump's water on this one. He absolutely is. Maybe I hate to think that JD Vance as a person is celebrating this, but maybe he is, because this is the kind of thing that gets Trump's base all happy, because you're hurting people that aren't them and aren't U.S. citizens. Outcome is the Empress. This is almost purely a political posturing on his part. Like, if this would be one of those things where they look at the polling numbers and see that this action really resonated well with Republicans. Okay, good. We can own it. And by Republicans, I mean MAGA or something along those lines. The Fox News viewers are all about that, because they can just say, hey, drug smugglers, and their viewers will believe them. Mm-hmm. And they listen to what Fox is telling them, and they celebrate, hooray, we've killed drug traffickers. Trump's doing something. And that's all it is. It's like a murdering people for a PR ploy, I guess is where I'm going with it.
Mm-hmm.
What a society we live in.
All right, so let's see, how are the Republicans in the Senate? How are they going to react? Because this is yet, another brick in the wall. I'm going to come up for a second, Dave. Why don't you share the screen? I was talking with Dave.
Well, what you're saying is really interesting. Oh,
keeping him riveted. I was telling Dave about a story that I was reading online, where the Republicans in the Senate were getting frustrated with the Trump administration because they spend all this time and effort getting these cabinet positions confirmed, and then the people last a week or two and then they're gone. And it's just like, first of all, it's like, didn't you learn from the previous Trump cabinet that you remain in the cabinet until such time as you piss off Trump, and then he drums you out. And how much time and effort did you really put in for these completely unqualified people that you're putting in these cabinet positions? All right. So, but the Republicans in the Senate are getting frustrated with this because they feel like they're wasting their time. And so you're going to combine that feeling with now this administration is taking on these very unpopular acts, and in some cases, very arguably illegal acts. And how are the Republican senators going to react as more of these bricks get thrown in the wall? And that's so
well, maybe Chuck Schumer will write a very strongly worded letter. Or
yes,
something like
exactly.
That.
This calls for immediate discussion. Okay, so how are they going to react? Okay, Knight of Wands. So when I was doing my Trump readings about when are we going to get to the end of the Trump administration, what are the activities that you need to see, almost every reading started with the Knight of Wands. We need to take some actions. Actions need to be taken to move things forward, because there's so much chaos and confusion going on. This could also be the chaos and confusion in Trump's mind. Underneath it is they're not happy with how things are being handled. They're feeling like Trump has no concern for their political futures, which he doesn't. He just wants them to do what they're told to do. He doesn't care about their political futures. In the past, the Queen of Cups, they've kind of kept a lid on their emotions, towed the party line, as you were. Privately, they may be outraged, but they're not showing that outrage in public, which is, frankly, what needs to happen. The current energy is Ace of Wands, but it seems like they're ready to start a new action. They realize action needs to be taken, and it's something new. It's a beginning of a new action. Overarching energy is the Eight of Cups, because our voters are walking away from us. We're losing our ability to be reelected, and that makes us very sad. The lesson to be learned, 10 of Swords, we need to put an end to this. You're killing our careers, and we need to make this come to an end. And the outcome is the Fool. Maybe it's time for a different direction, or a new Fool, or a new path forward, because the current path is killing us and making us disappointed. So how are the GOP senators reacting? I think they're ready for a change of direction.
Will the cowards actually do it?
Well, why don't you throw on that?
4 Carter. They don't deserve anything more than 4 cards. Will they actually do anything about it, or will this pass? King of Wands.
Well, that's about taking actions.
8 of Cups, Knight of Swords, 5 of Wands, the Lover's card. Okay. If the leadership decides that they want to do that, they certainly could. But then you've got the Lover's card here, which is about unity and keeping together.
But to me, it's the unity card, or the Lover's card, is about both parties.
Yeah, but I don't think it's both parties in this case. I think this is about the Republican Party. They're not interested in the support of the Democrats. They're interested in control of the Republican Party. They might use this as some type of leverage for getting something they want, or threatening to walk out on things if they don't get what they want. But ultimately, they want to keep the party together because they want the power of the decision-making coming through here. But I think it's just going to be a warning, like, knock it off. You can't just go, be more judicious in your murdering of civilians, please. We can't cover for you forever.
Okay, so are they going to act? You're creating a nightmare situation. We're gonna have to find a different path here. We're shining a light on this. I keep getting there. You're taking away our ability to basically stay in our jobs. You're stealing things from us. Page of Pentacles, and maybe it's time to look for something different. It could be like you said, that Fool card, a different direction. Maybe there's something else we can value other than blowing up civilians. And then underneath it, the World card, bringing things to an end. Will they act? I'm not feeling like, the Pentacles, I don't see any really action cards. Where's that Knight of Swords that you had? To me, that was a positive card.
I think any action they take is behind the scenes admonishment, saying, stop it. You can't do that. Just stop. But, they're going to present a unified front because power is, in the end of the day, they don't care about these 11 people that were killed. That's not really a concern of theirs. They're more interested in maintaining the power, that grip that they have developed and want to expand.
Yeah, I hard to argue that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, where's the outrage, right?
We can worry about morals and ethics later.
Yeah.
Just don't kill as many civilians. Don't be so obvious killing civilians. Think of a better story next time so we can sell it.
God. Yeah.
Anything else you want to read on? Because I'm pretty much disgusted.
No, I think that's pretty much it.
And I thank everyone for watching this video and supporting our channel. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, if you like these videos, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell. We'll put out a new one at midnight every night that you can catch and drink with your morning coffee.
Yeah, and if you want to tax all foreigners living abroad, leave a comment, and then Gary will pick his favorite ones to tax.
Okay, so let's give a couple of shout outs. How about to Debbie Smith, who says, thank you for your readings to get me through the day.
King of coins.
Yes, keep the money flowing.
Tax you heavily for that one.
And then let's see, Wendy H.J. Colorado.
Gary, for that world trip in your black bikini.
Woohoo! And then let's wrap it up. Oh, hey, Allison Crouch. Hey, Allison, how you doing?
So we had the world card and the Fool card, the ending and the beginning.
And the beginning. And then how about just a card for the rest of us? Ah, yes. The Seven of Cups. Don't believe everything that's being presented to you.
Especially on this channel.
Yeah, amen. Not all is as seems. All right,
not all readings are created equal.
No,
okay, thank you, everyone. Take care. Have a good one, and we'll catch you on the next video.
Take care, folks. Bye.